What's good? My name is Jankulovski and I'm going to show you why the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 is my choice for moto vlogging.
Even from this angle, I'm still vlogging.
I'm going to run through my favorite features, setups and settings to get the best footage out of the Ace Pro 2 on your rides and vlogs. Firstly, let's get the settings locked in. I shoot at 4K 30 frames per second for road riding, and for off-road, I like to shoot 60 frames per second in case I want to slow down a nice jump or wheelie. I have active HDR turned on. This is a setting I recently changed my opinion on. I figured out a few things that this setting is really beneficial for, especially paired with the rest of the settings I'm about to mention. Stabilization set to off or low. This is more your personal preference. I'd have it set to low if it's going to be a long form video where you don't want the viewer getting dizzy because the camera is shaking around all over the place. But I would have stabilization set to off if you want to immerse the viewer in a quick cut scene, because having stabilization off just makes it look like you're going much faster in the environment and you feel a lot more in the environment and immersed. 16:9 ratio, action wide view for the widest 157-degree FOV to capture all the action. Now you want to swipe from the right to enter more settings and change from auto to manual. Standard picture profile or flat for minor post color grade options. You can also toggle on I-log if you like to do more advanced color grading later in post, but to keep it simple, I'm going to leave this off. Now, the important part on how to get the smooth motion blur effect. Select shutter speed and double it from the frame rate you selected. So for 30 frames per second, the shutter would be 1/60. And for 60 frames per second, the shutter would be 1/120. As you can now see, the footage is way too bright because the shutter is locked and can't go any higher to correct the exposure. That's where ND filters come in. They're basically sunglasses for your camera. Depending on the weather outside and the exposure of the footage, select the ND level accordingly. For the weather today in 30 frames per second, 1/60 shutter speed, I'm going to go with ND 32 in the bright sunlight and swap to probably ND 16 for when I ride through the forest. If you don't want to bother with ND filters and shutter speed rules, you can just leave the shutter speed on auto, and if you want, just add artificial motion blur in the Insta360 app or studio with Motion ND. ISO set to 400 max to compensate if we ride into any darker areas. EV compensation set to 0. White balance set to auto. Sharpness set to low, the lowest option. And lastly, make sure you are shooting in the high bitrate mode. You can find this in the internal settings on the Ace Pro 2. Thanks to the magnetic clip, I can seamlessly swap around my favorite camera angles. Main angle being the chin mount POV shot, then facing me while riding. Next is this cool gas tank angle, down to the rear wheel shot using the heavy duty clamp. Oh, what about the night shots? How do I get such clean night footage? Using PureVideo mode in the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. The Ace Pro 2 can shoot up to 4K 60 frames in PureVideo mode to get smooth slow motion even in low light situations. However, the best low light quality will come from shooting in PureVideo Plus mode, which is automatically enabled when in 4K 30 frames per second. I typically set my EV to -0.7 just because it tends to overexpose a little bit and it kind of looks closer to daytime at nighttime than it does nighttime, so I set that just below 0. Auto white balance, anti-flicker mode, the lowest sharpness option, action wide view for the FOV, and again, stabilization off or on the lowest option for the best results. The Ace Pro 2 is the first action camera with an integrated wind guard to minimize noise during peak moments, ready to clip on and off as needed for perfect audio. There are different audio modes to choose from in the menu: voice enhancement, wind reduction, and stereo mode. For motorcycling purposes, I will be choosing wind reduction. For both on-road and off-road, the sound of the engine is picked up perfectly with little to no wind noise. And thanks to the new dual track audio feature on the Ace Pro 2, there are a couple of motovlog setups to choose from. You can now pair the Ace Pro 2 with a Bluetooth mic or headset, such as the Cardo Edge. Set the Cardo Edge into Bluetooth pairing mode and open the Bluetooth mic setting on the Ace Pro 2. Wait and then select your Cardo. With the dual track audio enabled, the Ace Pro 2 picks up not only the Bluetooth mic audio, but also the internal microphone on the camera. So when it comes to editing, you can mix the audio levels to hear your voice more, or cut out your voice so you can only hear the engine if you said something you don't want to be included.
Even from this angle, I'm still vlogging as we're connected to the Cardo via Bluetooth. no cable.
This setup is completely wireless, so you can easily remove the camera from your POV setup to your handlebar setup seamlessly. Or you can go with the traditional moto vlogging setup with an external mic plugged into the mic adapter and wired around the helmet, poking out of my cheek pad. All you need to do is adjust the gain to a level that allows for the best audio quality. I usually set mine to -6 or -12 dB. This gets you the best results, but you will have mic wires all around your helmet. Active HDR can now be enabled in 4K up to 60 frames per second, offering a powerful dynamic range, which is perfect for my off-road riding setup where I like to use 60 frames per second. Also assisting in properly exposing my face in harsh lighting scenarios for vlogging. Another awesome feature on the Ace Pro 2 is FlowState Stabilization and in-camera 360-degree horizon lock, enabling you to really show the lean angle while you're riding your bike and making other creative shots possible. Just select freeform mode and you can change whether you want FlowState Stabilization and horizon lock enabled in the Insta360 Studio. Lastly, another very helpful feature when I'm out moto vlogging but still wanting to capture my rides for safety or if anything awesome happens is the new Dashcam mode. Keep the camera rolling and eliminate storage concerns by automatically saving footage based on your set storage, ensuring everything gets captured even when you're not trying to make an actual vlog. But yeah, these are the main reasons why the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 is my main choice for moto vlogging.